You're listening to the Platform Launchers podcast. I'm John Stange, and it's great to have you with us this week, as always, because we talk about building and growing and monetizing your online platform. We talk about discovering your passion, turning that into a platform, and then helping that become your paycheck so you can support your family and do some wonderful and fun and meaningful things with the money that is entrusted to you from the work that you do. And so we talk about all of that each week here on Platform Launchers, and we're grateful that you tune in. Some of you are tuning in via the podcast. We're grateful to have you with us. I get to hear from some of you from time to time, which is a lot of fun. Some of you are tuning in via YouTube, and I noticed that our YouTube clicks or views are all starting to really go up in certain segments. Some of the videos there have just a very low discoverability for some reason. I might have to look at some of my titles there, but some of them have really started to take off. So if you're joining us via YouTube, if you're a new listener, I noticed that we had some new subscribers this week. That's very exciting. So thank you so much for doing that. And this week, we're going to be talking about this idea of becoming discoverable online, some creative approaches that we could take to becoming discoverable online. Because if we're in the process of developing an online platform, if that's what you're doing, that's what you're building, you want people to discover what you're doing. You don't want that to be something that only you and just a close circle of people know about. You want people to discover you. You want people to discover your content. And so that's what we're going to talk about, becoming discoverable online. Now, recently, I was working with a group of creative entrepreneurs. I get the opportunity to do this a variety of different ways throughout the course of a week. But I was working with a group of creative entrepreneurs, and we were working on a variety of subjects, including online marketing. And while I was teaching the group, I actually asked them to do something in real time. I asked them to open up their laptops and to conduct an internet search. And specifically, what I wanted them to search for were three things. I said, all right, first thing I want you to do is to search for your name. And so they were searching for their own name. And then I said, all right, now I want you to search for the name of the person sitting to your right. Ironically, a bunch of them searched for the person on their left. I wasn't exactly sure what that meant. I discovered that afterward when they started giving their answers, that they didn't search the person on their right, they searched the person on their left. So maybe a lot of people are directionally challenged, at least in this group they were. But I asked them to search for the name of the person on their right. And then the third thing I asked them to search for was my name. So their own name, the person sitting next to them, and my name. And I told them we would discuss what they found after they completed their search. And the results were pretty interesting. It was kind of interesting to see what people discovered when they searched for those three metrics. Now, in most instances, they found information about people who had similar names to them. So, if they had like just somebody else that basically had the same name, they would find information about them. Some found publications that other people with their same name had appeared in. Other people found arrest records that people with their same name had. Some even found obituaries. That could be a little interesting, maybe even a little freaky to find an obituary that already has your name on it. But in most cases, with one exception, in most cases, they did not find much of anything that actually pertained to themselves or to the people that they were sitting next to. The one exception to that was one person in that context found someone's LinkedIn profile when they searched for their name. So that was the only thing that really came up from that group. But other than that, it was mostly other people that they were finding. But the third thing I asked them to search for was my name. And when they searched for my name, the results were different. They found pages and pages, maybe even like an overabundance in some respect, but they found pages and pages of online content related to the things either that I do or things that I teach or things that I sell or services that I offer, events that I've participated in, or credentials that I've earned. These were things that all started coming up on those pages of search results. And admittedly, I recognize that's not typical, and it's certainly not something I was able to establish overnight. That was actually something that took a long time before that would be the type of result that you would get from just doing a simple internet search for my name. But the cool thing was, in this context, it actually was credential building because it provided some evidence that the approach that I'm taking to online marketing, this approach that I recommend to others, this approach that I actually follow, that it actually works. It showed them that it works. And we made it very personal because, again, they were searching for their own name and they saw what came up. They were searching for the person next to them and they saw what came up. And then when they searched for my name, they also, again, saw what came up. So after I did this, and I did this, again, to establish some credibility with this group, but it led to a very fruitful conversation about a whole slew of ideas that they could implement as they were trying to build up their own online discoverability. Now, getting discovered online, if that's something that you desire to do, so you're building an online platform, you've got something that ties in with a message that you're trying to communicate. When you're trying to get discovered online, what that does is it involves a combination of strategies that need to be aimed at increasing your visibility, your credibility, your authority, and your relevance to your target audience. So you want all of those things to be included in this approach. So if you're building a message-based platform or multiple platforms like I am, right? I have two primary platforms that I invest my time in, my business platform with platform launchers, and then my faith-based platform. If you're building a message-based platform like I choose to do, and like, again, like many members of our community are doing as well, I just want to suggest a few creative steps that you can take to improve your online presence and genuinely increase your chance of being discovered. And they are not hard to do, but just that means nothing, right? Because even though they're not hard to do, a lot of people don't do them. Even people that tell me they're interested in building online platforms, a lot of people do not do the things that I'm telling you to do here. But I am saying, and you could test this. I mean, just search for my name on Google or wherever you tend to search online. I'm telling you that if you do these things and you're consistent about doing them, they will work. They are proven strategies to work to boost your online discoverability. And again, this isn't with people that already know you trying to discover you. This is people that don't know anything about you discovering you. So let me give you a few things. It's not a big list, but let me give you a few things that I think you'll find helpful, and hopefully these are things that you can implement right away. But the first, and I say this with some regularity because it's my favorite, but the first suggestion I would give you as far as boosting online discoverability, the first thing you should do is keep creating high quality content. Create high quality, highly valuable content, because content is king online. This is what everybody wants. This is what people are online to consume. This is what people are online to get. Content is king. So this suggestion is always high on my list. I'm a huge fan of online marketing that is content marketing, because it's often through content that we're creating that allows us to actually create the most value for other people. So I'm a big fan of creating high quality online content. And that could be in a variety of realms, right? That could be articles, that could be videos, that could be podcasts, that could be social media posts, that could be any one of these categories, or maybe even more things that I'm not thinking of right off the top of my head. But when you create valuable and engaging content, that truly is a key to attracting an online audience. Now, in our group, inside Platform Launchers here, I often talk about creating content a very particular way. I use a phrase frequently called building a content waterfall. So I talk about this content waterfall. Just before the podcast here began, I was chatting with our members here. We were joking. One of our members, John Beakey, was joking about words that I say frequently, and he had one suggestion of something that I say frequently in my teaching, and he's absolutely right. But another thing that I do tend to bring up quite frequently, and some of our members bring it up as well, so I'm not alone, is content waterfall. I say that frequently. I mean it frequently. But basically, this is what it is. A content waterfall, it involves transforming one piece of content. So usually you're starting with something written. So just picture, like, something that you write, and you're going to transform it into many forms of content. And I have found that that is such a great and useful way to get a lot done in a short period of time. And it also allows you to become visible in multiple online spaces at once, because you're showing up in a variety of ways. So here's how this works in practical terms. My favorite approach is to actually start with a blog post. And then I'll take that blog post and I'll turn it live into teaching sessions, things that I deliver live that get recorded, things like what I'm doing right now. I'll turn it into a live teaching session. And then from a live teaching session, it becomes long form video. And then from the long form video, I also make short form videos, things like what I'm showing here on YouTube. Then I also make it podcast episodes. I also make it book chapters. Some of the books that I've written really started off as one piece of written content that was shared as a blog post that I then saved that content and utilized it and formatted that content so that it could become book chapters. And then sometimes I'll take snippets from those and I'll make social media posts out of those. And basically what I'm saying is if you develop a content waterfall that you utilize on a weekly basis, preferably in my opinion, starting with one piece of written content that you transform into all these other things. So creatively, you're just doing one creative task and then you're transforming it into different ways of delivering it. But if you do that on a weekly basis, not just a now and then basis, but if you commit to doing this every week with one piece of content that you transform in several different ways, I can guarantee this. This isn't even a doubt. Your online discoverability will grow exponentially in ways that may actually surprise you. And honestly, if you don't listen to anything else that I share on this podcast this week, if you just do that one thing, I think you will be shocked at how discoverable you become online. So let's just treat that as the core message for this week. And let's just treat everything else that I say as bonus. These other things help too. But that one right there can set you apart from most content creators. But let's look at number 2 on my list. If you're trying to develop some online discoverability, one of the things that many of us find very, very helpful is to optimize for SEO. But don't think about that in a technical way. When people talk about SEO, and that just means search engine optimization, which could also be said how to get discovered online, right? It's all about online discoverability with search engines, right? But SEO, it helps your content to rank higher in search engine results when you optimize for SEO. And this is all you have to do. Ready? Just research some keywords relevant to your niche. Just do a search for some keywords relevant to your niche. So whatever your niche is. So my niche here is online platform development. So if I wanted to do a search for online platform development keywords, I just put that in, see what kind of keywords it recommends. And then I can incorporate those keywords into my content to improve the discoverability of that content. And that could play out in different ways. So when it comes to blog posts or video posts or podcast episodes, I could feature some of those keywords in the titles. So let's look at, even what I'm calling this week's topic, this idea of online discoverability. Those are terms that people search for when they're put together. How do I get discovered online, or how do I boost my online discoverability? Those are keywords, right? So when it comes to blog posts, so I'm going to have a blog post this week about that. This video is going to have that. The audio of this that I share on our podcast will have that incorporated into the title. Featuring those keywords in those titles helps with discoverability. It drastically improves the likelihood of your content getting discovered and ranking higher in search engine results. So that's number 2 on my list. All right, here's number 3. It's all about collaboration. And this is something that it's not difficult to do, but not enough people do it. But just collaborate with others. So that's number 3 on my list. Collaborate with others, but do it this way. You partner with people in your sphere or in a closely related sphere. So you're partnering with influencers or bloggers or other businesses in your niche or closely related niches. And in doing that, that helps expose your brand to a wider audience. And so you look for opportunities that you can maybe collaborate on your content, or you could collaborate with promotions. And maybe you don't immediately get invited to somebody else's platform. So what you do is you invite them to your platform and you help boost visibility for what they're doing. And in return, that favor tends to come back to you, especially if they share the content that you created together. But when you're in the early stages of building an audience, this could be like rocket fuel for your visibility, because it actually allows you to borrow the audience of somebody more established in your space. It could also help you build word of mouth. And this is something people don't think of when it comes to collaboration. It helps you build word of mouth because people of influence start to get to know you because you've collaborated with them, and they start recommending you or your services to other people. So collaboration is great for the relational aspect of it, but also for the visibility aspect because it helps you spread word of mouth of what you're doing. And other people sometimes do that for you. You borrow their audience. All right, this is related to this. Number 4 on my list is this. I love doing this. Doesn't cost you anything to do this in most contexts, but that would be guest posting. Guest posting. If you're going to become more discoverable online, guest posting can be a great tool. And again, it goes hand in hand with collaboration. But as often as you're willing, I don't have a lot to say about this week, but I'm just going to say a little bit about it. As often as you're willing, take the time to contribute guest posts to popular blogs or popular websites in your industry. You're basically saying to somebody else, here's some content I've created that you can share. You're doing someone else's job for them that week if they're trying to always generate new content, right? You're doing some of that work for them and you're sharing that content on their platform in one respect or another, on their blog, on their website, through their podcast, whatever it may be. And again, because it's collaborative in nature, it exposes your brand to a new audience and it drives traffic back to your own site while helping somebody else. All right, that's number 4. I've got 2 more. And these have both helped me immensely when it comes to online discoverability. Number 5 on my list is this: engage with your audience. So over time, as you serve an audience with your content, these are real people you're going to be connecting with. Engage with them. What do I mean by engage with your audience? Well, respond to comments, respond to messages, respond to inquiries. Whatever you receive, wherever those connections take place with your audience, do that promptly. Do that quickly. Make it part of your regular weekly routine to engage with your audience. Because when you build relationships with your audience, that's going to build trust. It's going to foster some loyalty. It's going to increase visibility through word of mouth recommendations. It's actually encouraging to you. I love when I hear from people who listen to my shows or watch my videos or read my blog posts. Please, if you send me a message, I I love that. That makes my day. Send me a message. Test it out. Send me an email, john@platformlaunchers.com. I'd love to hear more about what you're doing and the opportunity that we have to even just hear about what the other person is doing. I think is very encouraging. But I love hearing from other people. I regularly hear from people via email. But I also, this is really cool too. I also hear from people regularly through one of my crowdfunding profiles on buymeacoffee.com. That's very just conducive for connecting with an audience. And what ends up happening is anytime someone supports what I'm doing on Buy Me a Coffee, so if they do that, they're supporting through crowdfunding. But Buy Me a Coffee has an area where they let people, if they support you, just leave a personal message, and then that allows me to reply back to that personal message. So whenever somebody supports the work that I'm doing, or whenever someone leaves me a message of encouragement on that platform or somewhere else, I always make a point to reply. I've never missed an opportunity to reply to something that has been left to me on buymeacoffee.com, or really the other things too. I'd be shocked to discover if I've really missed that many messages that have sent my way. I truly reply to them all as best as I can. On occasion, I'll get something a little wacky that I don't reply to. That's for obvious reasons. But most of the time, the things that I receive are very edifying and encouraging and uplifting. And I love hearing what other people are doing. And if people reach out to you, I just encourage you, reply back. That helps you discover that helps with discoverability because you're connecting with your actual audience, and you're going to be recommended to others when you actually take the time to notice the people that are noticing you. All right, number 6 on my list is this. This has worked very well for me. I hope it works very well for you. And that's this: attend virtual events and webinars. Attend these things when you have the time to do it. You may not have all the time in the world to do this, but when you have the time to do it, attend virtual events and webinars. Because when you participate in online events and webinars and forums and things like that that are related to your industry, what that does is it allows you to network with and work with peers and potential clients and customers. And what happens is the more you show up, the more your name starts to become recognizable in your area of expertise, in your lane, whatever the lane or niche you happen to be serving happens to be, your name starts to become a recognizable brand, in a sense, we could say, in that particular message based topic. And as your name gets mentioned in the content of the platforms of other people or in forums that other people manage or on webinars that other people are leading because you regularly show up, you regularly interact, commenting, adding value, sharing ideas, collaborating, all sorts of things like that. Other people of influence notice you, they mention you, your online discoverability starts to grow as well, and it's a win for everybody. So attend virtual events and webinars, and that gives you an opportunity on a broad scale to interact with people who do the type of things you do. I'll give you an example of one particular way this worked for me, and maybe you'll get an idea for something that would work for you. But one particular event that really helped me with online visibility over the past year or so was the opportunity that I was given to serve as a judge for an online speaking competition. It was a unique opportunity. Someone reached out to me and said, "Would you be a judge for this?" It's basically authors that would like to become speakers. And so they invited me to become a judge for this online speaking competition. And the organization that was running this, they actually ran a whole series of press releases in all sorts of major media outlets. So we're talking places like ABC and NBC and Fox and just a variety of places, CBS, a few other things. And many of those press releases still remain active online. And even though this event was a while ago, when I search for these things, I still find them. And in fact, some of the higher ranking search engine results that come up with my name, some of them are connected to those press releases related to when I happened to judge this speaking competition. So I didn't fully appreciate, I think, in the moment, what kind of benefit that was going to bring to me as far as discoverability and visibility online, but it absolutely helped. So, as we wrap up this thought this week, let me just say this: all of these approaches work. These are all things. I'm not just speaking as someone who talks about theory. These are absolutely all different things that I have personally done. They've all had their effect. There's other things I've done too, but these are 6 things that really come to my mind. If someone was to ask me, how can I boost my online discoverability right now? These are 6 things that really have worked very, very well for me that I would recommend to you. And again, they work particularly well if you become faithful in applying them. So, what are the 6? Let me repeat them. First, create high quality content. Number 2, optimize for SEO. Number 3, collaborate with others. Number 4, get involved in some guest posting. Number 5, engage with your audience. And number 6, attend virtual events and webinars. They are highly valuable. But as I often say, please remember that building an online presence or an online platform, it takes a little time. And it takes some consistent effort. So I hope for your sake that maybe some of these things explode overnight, and maybe some of them will. But for most of us, it's the persistence that really pays off over time. So if you're like most of us, if you're like me, if you're like many of the members in our group, it's the persistence and consistency that really has provided a lot of value for helping us with online discoverability. So I just want to encourage you, stay patient, but continue to refine your strategies, be diligent about it, keep adapting these suggestions to maybe even changes in your industry or the online landscape. But if you remain consistent, it will not surprise me in the least to discover that these things that have absolutely worked for me in the realm of online discoverability and have absolutely worked for some of the members in our members club, it'll work for you too. I'm certain it'll work for you too. It works for everybody that's consistent with this. So just keep at it and keep doing this and keep plugging away. And before you know it, you're going to see the results that you've been looking for. Before we finish up this week, I just want to remind you, stop over at platformlaunchers.com. And you know what? My encouragement this week is you hear us talk about our members club. I want to encourage you to take a test drive of the members club at platformlaunchers.com. We'd love to see you there. But that's it for us this week. Thanks again for tuning in. We'll catch you next time. Have a great week and take care.